All right, welcome back everybody for another deep dive. And today we are going someplace a little bit, well, dark, a little bit different. And we're going to be talking about the Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And specifically, we're going to be talking about Gambit and the X-Ternals.
Okay.
So really quick, for those who aren't as familiar with the Age of Apocalypse,
Right.
this is a alternate reality story.
Yes.
Where Apocalypse actually was able to conquer the world. He was able to kill Professor X.
Yes.
So it's a very, very different world.
It's a very different world. In fact, I don't even think we can call these guys the X-Men.
Right. Right.
They're really just trying to survive.
Yeah.
They're not even mutants anymore. They're just, kind of remnants of what was.
Yeah. It's a world where Magneto actually leads the X-Men.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is, that alone tells you how different this reality is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what's fascinating about Gambit and the X-Ternals is it's not just this dystopian, kind of like World War story going on Earth, but they actually go into space. And this is kind of like a space adventure.
Yeah, it's got a real Guardians of the Galaxy feel to it.
It does, yeah. Where,
It's got heists, it's got spaceships.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's got crazy alien tech.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, they're on a very specific mission.
Right.
And it's to get something that, readers will be familiar with, which is the Micraean crystal.
Yes.
Which has been a part of the X-Men world, since the 70s.
Right.
But here, they need it for a very specific reason.
Right.
And it's to basically restart or fix their reality.
Yeah.
They're trying to use it to rewrite what has happened. So, stakes can't get much higher than that.
Right.
Right. It's like the ultimate stakes.
Yeah.
You're just talking about saving the entire universe, essentially.
Yeah. Wow.
So who is on this team? Who are the X-Ternals in this? What makes them so unique?
Well, you have some familiar faces.
Okay.
Obviously, Gambit is there, but he's not the Gambit that we're used to.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's a lot more dour.
Oh.
A lot more serious. And that's because of what happened to Rogue.
Oh, wow.
In this reality.
Yeah.
He essentially is just driven by, this broken heart.
Yeah.
And, he will do anything to achieve this goal.
Yeah, he's lost that roguish charm.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah,
he's not like flirting his way through situations anymore.
Yeah.
He's much more of a hard edge.
Yeah.
To him, he's very much a soldier.
Wow.
In this.
I can't imagine him being the leader of this team.
Right. It's almost counter to his nature.
It is.
To be this take charge guy.
Yeah. So who else is on this team with him?
So, also along for the ride is Lila Cheney.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which
for those who aren't familiar, Lila Cheney is a teleporting mutant.
Teleporting mutant.
He was also a rock star.
Yeah, and is also very tied into the Shi'ar Empire.
Very much so.
Right. Okay.
Jeez.
So what's her role in the team?
Well, essentially, she's there to get them from point A to point B.
Okay.
But she's dealing with some personal issues.
Okay. Kiss eye jazz.
Well, she's kind of an addict.
Ah, wow.
And so she's not always reliable.
That's a pretty big liability when your main power is teleportation.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. It is.
And especially if you're going into hostile territory.
Exactly.
Yeah. So who else rounds out this team?
Well, Sunspot is there. And, he's always been kind of a hothead.
Right.
But here he is, at odds with Gambit.
Okay.
They do not get along at all.
Okay. So there's definitely some team tension there.
There is.
Right.
There is. And they kind of, represent kind of the opposite ends of this moral spectrum.
Gotcha.
How far are we willing to go?
To save, what's left of the world.
Wow. So that's pretty intense.
It is.
Okay. So who else? Who else is on this team?
So rounding out the team, you have Jubilee.
Okay. Now, Jubilee in the main universe is kind of a...
Yeah, she's a teenager.
Yeah, teenager, very plucky.
Yep, very much so.
And full of, like, life and, just...
Optimism.
Yeah, optimism.
Yeah.
Is that the same Jubilee we see here?
No, not at all.
Oh, wow.
This Jubilee is very much, hardened.
Okay.
And she's carrying, the weight of this reality on her shoulders.
Wow.
And then you have Richter and Strong Guy, who provide the muscle.
Okay.
But they also, underneath it all,
yeah,
have some, emotional depth to them as well.
Gotcha. So it's not just, big, strong guy.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Punch things.
No, not at all.
Okay. Some nuance to them.
They have some nuance, yeah.
Okay, so we have this team of, I mean, they're familiar faces, but it seems like they're twisted.
Oh, yeah.
By this reality.
Yeah, they're darker.
They're darker, yeah.
Yeah, they're very much shaped by their experiences.
So where do they even begin to track down this McCrae crystal? I mean, where do they even start?
Well, they get some information that leads them to the Shi'ar Empire.
Oh, okay. So already we're going cosmic.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the Shi'ar Empire, for those who aren't familiar, is basically a giant space empire.
Yeah. Very much kind of a Roman kind of a feel to it.
Okay. Gotcha. With gladiators and...
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Yep.
So how does the Shi'ar play into this?
So the Shi'ar, they don't just possess the McCrae crystal.
Okay.
They actually worship it.
Oh, wow.
It's very much part of their religion.
So essentially, they're going to have to steal a religious artifact.
It's essentially, yes.
From a very powerful alien empire.
Yes.
What could possibly go wrong?
I know, right?
I mean, you know.
Yeah, and it's not just, you know.
It's Shi'ar.
The Shi'ar themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you have Gladiator.
Right, who is kind of their Superman.
Yeah, he's their big gun.
Right.
He's the one they send in.
Yeah.
When all else fails.
Yeah, when they really need to get something done.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you know.
He's a tough customer.
He is.
Yeah.
But the real danger is the McCrae crystal itself.
Oh, okay.
Because the crystal, you know, we kind of think of it as this object.
Right.
But it's actually sentient.
Oh, okay.
And it can be very manipulative.
Oh, so they're not just dealing with guards and spaceships and all that.
Right.
They're actually dealing with something that can get inside their heads.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's even scarier than a Superman with a sword.
Yeah.
So does it, I mean, how does that manifest itself? Does it like tempt them? Does it, you know, how does it?
So there's one scene in particular with Jubilee where she's essentially offered a vision.
Of a perfect world.
Okay.
You know, what if everything went back to normal?
Okay.
And, you know, she didn't have to deal with any of this.
Okay.
And she's very much tempted.
Oh, wow.
By it.
So it's playing on their desires.
It is.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have these characters who are dealing with their own personal baggage.
Yeah.
You know, they're emotionally compromised.
Yes.
We have, you know, a Superman with a sword.
Yes.
And then we have this cosmic entity that can get inside their heads.
Yeah.
Like, how do they even have a chance?
Well, that's part of what makes the story so compelling.
Okay.
Because, you know, on the surface, it looks like they're doomed.
They really do.
Yeah.
Right.
But Gambit comes up with a plan.
Okay.
And it's...
Does it involve cards?
It actually, it doesn't.
Right.
But it is brilliant and kind of messed up.
Okay.
You know, even for the age of apocalypse.
Okay.
What he does is he actually sells the team into slavery to a galactic trafficker.
Okay. That is dark. Even for Gambit.
It is.
I mean, that's, you know.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. And it just shows, you know, how far he's willing to go.
Yeah.
You know, to achieve this goal.
So they're basically slaves in this alien empire.
Yeah.
They're facing down a Superman with a sword and a cosmic entity that can mess with their minds. This is not looking good.
That's not.
And we haven't even talked about Lila Cheney's addiction.
Oh, right.
And how that comes back into play.
That is going to be a problem.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, it really drives home the sense of desperation that they're all feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not just about getting the crystal.
Well, yeah.
It's about survival.
Yeah, it's about can they even escape this crazy situation?
Yeah, because every time Lila teleports them, there's a chance it could go wrong.
Yeah, oh man.
And then they're stranded.
Oh, that's
in the middle of Shi'ar space.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a recipe for disaster.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Oh,
yeah.
This isn't it.
Yeah.
So how do they even, I mean, how do they even begin to get out of this?
Right.
What happens next?
That is a story.
Okay.
For part 2.
All right. We'll be back. So last time we left our heroes in a pretty bad spot.
Yeah, pretty much as bad as it can get, I think.
Yeah, they're slaves.
Yeah.
To an alien race. Trying to steal a very powerful artifact.
Yeah.
You know, they're being hunted by a Superman with a sword.
Right, right.
And their only way out is a teleporting drug addict.
Yeah, whose powers are unreliable at best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not a good situation.
So where do we even go from there? I mean, how does this story even, you know, continue from that point?
Well, believe it or not, things actually get worse.
Oh, come on.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, their plan kind of falls apart.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They do end up having a confrontation with Gladiator.
And the McCrayan crystal is still, doing its thing.
Right.
Messing with their heads.
Yeah, trying to tempt them.
Yeah.
Is anybody going to fall for it? Are they all going to kind of stay strong in this, or are we going to see some people kind of waver?
Well, some of them do waver.
Okay.
But it's Lila Cheney who ends up really kind of being the
MVP.
The MVP, yeah. And she does it in a very, unexpected way.
Okay. How's that?
So, as I said, her teleportation powers are unreliable.
Right.
And she realizes that the crystal is corrupting her.
Oh, wow.
So she decides to use what's left of her power to teleport the team into the heart of a sun.
Oh, so she sacrifices herself.
She does.
Wow.
She basically incinerates herself.
Oh, man, that's intense.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew this was a dark story.
Yeah.
But it's
brutal.
Yeah, that's rough. Is there anything, is it just like a sudden, she just zaps them away and that's it? Or is there any kind of last words? Anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Before she does it, she's talking to Sunspot.
Okay.
And she says, tell Earth I finally did something right.
Wow.
So
that's heavy.
Yeah, it really speaks to, kind of what she's been going through.
Yeah.
This whole idea of, trying to redeem herself.
Yeah, that line really kind of puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? It does. Especially for an addict,
Right.
To go from, I'm a screw up to, I finally did something right.
Right.
That's pretty huge.
It is, and it just shows the power of sacrifice, I think.
Yeah. It really does. It really shows that, anybody can be a hero, even if you've made mistakes in the past.
Right. It's never too late
to
do the right thing.
Wow.
And
that's a good lesson for all of us, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So she sacrifices herself, but they get away with the crystal.
They do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was the whole mission, right?
That was the whole mission.
Was to get the crystal back to Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's he going to do with it? What's the big plan?
Well, Magneto's plan is to use it to amplify Legion's powers.
Oh, okay. Now, Legion, he's Professor X's son.
Yes.
Right.
He is.
And he's a very powerful mutant.
He is incredibly powerful.
But he's also mentally unstable.
He's very unstable.
Right.
Yeah, he's got all these different personalities.
Okay.
And each personality has its own powers.
Wow. So he's like a walking,
He's a wild card.
Yeah, wild card.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, what's he going to do next?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does that, how does the McCrayan crystal play into that?
So the McCrayan crystal would essentially allow Magneto to control Legion's powers.
Okay.
And use them to reshape reality.
Oh, wow.
So he could rewrite history.
Oh.
He could bring back,
Charles Xavier?
Charles Xavier, yeah. He could, remake the world in his image.
So it's a good thing they got that crystal away from him.
It is. Yeah, so by sacrificing herself, Lila prevents Magneto from getting what he wants.
Wow, so she's the real hero of the story.
She is, yeah.
She saved not just her teammates, but potentially the entire world.
The entire universe, maybe.
Yeah, wow.
Who knows, yeah.
We talk about sacrifice.
Yeah.
That is sacrifice.
That's the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, obviously the story is, filled with action and adventure.
Yeah.
But it also seems like it's got a lot of heart.
Oh, it does.
And a lot of, it's kind of emotional.
It is.
In a way. It's not just explosions and spaceships and all that.
No, not at all.
So talk about the art. The art in this book is pretty spectacular.
It is, yeah. It's by Tony Daniel, who is a fantastic artist.
Okay.
And he does a really good job of capturing the tone of the story.
So it's dark.
It's dark. It's gritty.
Okay.
There's lots of shadows.
Okay.
Everything's kind of, run down and messed up.
Okay. It fits the whole Age of Apocalypse aesthetic.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So is there anything specific, in the art that really stood out to you? Any particular panels or,
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah.
For one thing, Gambit's trench coat.
Okay.
It's not just, tattered.
Okay.
It's, shredded.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think that really kind of speaks to
his mental state.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's falling apart.
Yeah, everything's falling apart.
Including his clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool touch.
Yeah, and then you have, the Shi'ar palaces.
Okay.
They're very grand and opulent.
Right.
But there's also this kind of underlying sense of menace.
Oh.
Okay. It's even their utopia is built on something dark.
Yeah, they're not as nice as they seem.
No, not really, no.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And then, the scene with Lila's sacrifice.
Okay.
When she teleports them into the sun.
Yeah.
That's a full-page splash.
Okay.
Of her just kind of like engulfed in this cosmic fire.
Okay.
And it's beautiful, but it's also really tragic.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's that, that juxtaposition of, beauty and horror.
It is, yeah. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
And it's an image that kind of stays with you after you've read the book.
Yeah. I mean, it really speaks to kind of the emotional core of the story, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It really does. Wow.
It's not just about, like, showing off, cool powers.
Right.
It's about conveying these emotions
Yeah.
and, the weight of their sacrifices.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about sacrifice. We've talked about redemption. What other themes, like, really stand out in this book? I mean, is there anything else that kind of, like, jumps out at you?
Well, I think one of the things that makes this story so compelling is that even though it's set in this really dark, apocalyptic world, there's still this sense of hope.
Okay. It's not all doom and gloom?
No, it's not all doom and gloom.
Okay.
It's this idea that even when things are at their worst, there's still something worth fighting for.
Yeah. I mean, that's really, I think, at the heart of a lot of superhero stories, isn't it?
Yes.
That even when things are bad, there's always hope.
There's always hope, yeah.
And that's something that I think we all need to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Especially these days.
Yeah, especially these days.
Yeah.
All right, so, I mean, we could talk about this book all day.
We could.
But we are running out of time. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about, we've talked about how the Age of Apocalypse shaped these characters. But what if we kind of flipped that?
Okay.
And said, what if these characters could take what they learned from the Age of Apocalypse and apply it to the main Marvel universe?
Okay. Interesting.
Could they have, like, prevented the Age of Apocalypse from ever happening?
That's a good question.
Like, could they be the guardians of the timeline?
It's possible, yeah.
It's like they've seen how bad things can get.
They have.
Right.
Yeah, and
So they're uniquely qualified.
They're uniquely qualified.
To prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Like, Gambit, he's haunted by Rogue's death.
Right.
In the Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So he would be obsessed with making sure that Professor X is protected.
Yeah, because he knows if Xavier dies...
Right, if Xavier dies,
it's all over.
Apocalypse wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about Lila Cheney? Oh, Lila Cheney.
I mean, she could be teleporting all over the place.
Right.
Stopping bad guys before they even have a chance to do anything.
She'd be like the ultimate secret agent.
Yeah, exactly.
And
what about Sunspot? I mean,
Sunspot?
Sunspot's a hothead.
Yeah, he could be the muscle.
Yeah, I mean, he's just blasting people.
Yeah, he'd be like, not this time, bub.
Yeah, not on my watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That'd be pretty cool.
It would be. It would be.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously this is all speculation.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's fun to think about.
It is.
Yeah. But do you think they could handle it?
I mean, psychologically.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're carrying the weight of this other reality on their shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be heavy.
It's got to be heavy.
Yeah.
Like
every day they wake up knowing how bad things could be.
Right, you're right.
And knowing that they're the only ones.
Yeah, they're the only ones.
Standing between this world.
And that world.
Yeah.
That's got to mess you up.
It would mess you up, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a great idea, but I don't know.
I don't know either.
If they could handle it.
Yeah, I mean, and it also raises some ethical questions, too.
Okay, such as?
Well, if they could prevent, a dystopian future, would they be morally obligated to do it?
Ooh. That's a tough one.
It is.
I mean, and how far would they go?
Exactly, yeah.
Would they become the very thing they're trying to stop?
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might have to make some hard choices.
Yeah, some morally gray choices,
Yeah.
And how would the other X-Men react to them?
Right.
I mean, can you imagine them trying to explain to Professor X, hey, in another reality,
you're dead.
You're dead. An apocalypse rules the world. And we're here to stop that from happening.
Would Professor X even believe them?
I don't know.
Or would he think they were crazy?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It'd be like a real test of faith, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah.
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 I mean, that's kind of, I think, one of the things that makes this story so compelling is it's not just about, punching bad guy.
It's about these big ideas.
It's about ideas. It's about philosophy.
Yeah.
It's about, morality.
Right.
It's about
ethics.
Yeah, ethics.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it really, really interesting.
It does. It makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you think. And that's what good stories should do, right?
It should, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just entertainment. It's
food for thought.
It's food for thought, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been a great discussion.
Yeah, it has.
But unfortunately, we are out of time.
Okay.
So we'll have to continue this another time.
Sounds good.
But until then.
Yeah, keep on reading.
Keep on reading.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
We were talking about these big ideas and the ethical dilemmas and everything.
Yeah. But we kind of skipped over Strong Guy.
Oh, Strong Guy, yeah.
He kind of provides a little bit of comic relief.
He does, yeah.
In this otherwise very dark story.
Right. And it's not laugh out loud funny.
Right.
But he definitely has this very dry wit.
Yeah.
And he's always making these sarcastic comments.
Yeah. He's kind of like the guy who's just seen it all.
Yeah. He's very jaded.
Yeah.
In a way.
But he's also kind of using that humor to cope with the situation.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's his way of, dealing with the trauma.
Yeah. Keeping himself sane.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's something that we all do in a way, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, when things are tough, you got to find a way to laugh.
Yeah, laugh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, you'll just go crazy.
Exactly.
But it also, I think, speaks to the writer's ability to balance the bleakness with these little moments of levity.
Yeah, it keeps it from getting too depressing. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. You need those moments to kind of break the tension.
And it's not just the humor, I mean, this book is really kind of a blend of genres.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dystopian story.
Yeah.
It's a space opera.
Yeah, there's some heist elements.
Heists, yeah.
Yeah.
There's even some psychological drama in there.
Absolutely.
It's a very unique book.
Yeah, it's a real kind of hybrid.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that makes it so memorable.
Yeah, it's not like anything else.
It's not like anything else, yeah. Yeah.
It's very unique.
And its influence, I think, can be seen in later X-Men stories.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, Gambit's leadership role here kind of, I think, informs his character.
Yeah.
You know, going forward.
I think it really shapes him into the leader that he becomes.
Yeah, it shows that he's capable of more than just being the charming rogue.
Yeah, he's got depth.
He's got depth, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess to kind of wrap things up.
Okay.
What are your final thoughts on Gambit and the X-Ternals?
Well, I think it's a story that really resonates with readers because it deals with these universal themes of loss and sacrifice and hope.
Yeah. It's about fighting for what you believe in.
It is.
Even when the odds are stacked against you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's a message that we can all take to heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter what we're going through in our lives, there's always hope.
There's always hope.
And there's always a reason to fight for what's right.
I agree.
Well, that's a great note to end on.
Yeah.
So for those of you listening at home, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Gambit and the X-Ternals.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And keep on reading.
Keep on reading, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.